today we're going to be discussing our logo and just the basis behind it, how we came up with, well, how I came up with it, and the concept behind it, just the process that I use to design standard, you know, not just logos, but mainly logos I use this process with. Richard's got his own, you know, all creative people are different.
We all have our different styles.
Yeah. So I've put almost thoughts and that down. This is, you know, I've never really written this down. This was as I was doing this video, as we were discussing it, I thought this is a nice way to show everyone my thought process, and also it was nice for me because I realized some of the stuff I do. So I'm going to go point by point, and with the point I'll, you know, just go further into it. But basically the first thing I do is I write out the company name. So you'll see here, this is actually a scan of my rough ideas. This is what I do before. So this is very rough. This is, you know, this isn't finalized. So what I do is I always write the name out. So let's just go back to point one. You'll see I write out company name and some keywords. So for OK Richard, obviously we artists, we designers, you know, we want to do videos that are related to those type of things. So I just wrote down some keywords. So OK Richard, it's artists, designers, friends, because I do think that also has an element to play in the logo and the feel.
Yes.
So it's friends and it's creative.
It's very clever that you wrote down keywords, because sometimes we have the artist block and you can't think of anything because you don't have it physically written down. You have to write down points, your mind map. Everyone needs to mind map when they try to come up with ideas with everything.
And I mean, designing and drawing and that is a creative process, but it's still a process. So I think like some people tend not to put effort into the thought behind, and then you get halfway and then you're lost. You're like,
what can I do? But then it's because they were underestimating the creative process, the part where you actually get to the idea. You think, oh, screw this, I think I already have an idea, I don't need to bother with this.
So that's the first thing I always do, is I just write down. You'll see I also put pencils and drawing tablets. Now that was the stuff that I thought correlates with what OK Richard is about. That's what we use to design, to draw. So even though this was for us, and you know, I was basically making a logo for myself, I still treated it like a customer.
Yes.
I exactly, if I was dealing with a customer, this is how I'll do it, this is what I'll work on. So that's the first thing I always do, is just write down some bullet points. The next is I do some rough sketches for some concepts. So as you can see here, I wrote the name out first, and then I just put a squiggly line underneath it. I'm not trying to draw the Mona Lisa here. I'm just doing a rough idea. I put the name there. Now visualize. Now I'm thinking about it. So now I go back to my key points. What are my key points? I've got artists, designers. I've got pencils, drawing. So now what's the next thing I do? I write OK Richard. I put a pencil afterwards. Just, you know, incorporate it again.
There's a pencil you use to draw and create.
Exactly. It correlates with what we are. But you know, I'm just putting pencil to paper just to get an idea. How does it look? Even though it's not in line, even though it's not the best looking pencil, and maybe some random person wouldn't even know it's a pencil, I know it's a pencil. So yeah, it's just better to put it all on there. So then you can see as I go through it, the next one I've got the OK Richard, I've incorporated the pencil again. I've tried the same idea, seeing if I can't refine it a little bit.
Yes.
And then you'll see the next concepts are all with drawing tablets. Why? Because that's what I put, you know, that's what we use.
It is something, that we use the drawing tablets to draw our fan art for our team. So that's basically some of the things we have already done, some of the fan drawings. That's something that we plan on putting on the YouTube channel as well.
You can
looking forward to uploading them.
And you can check some of those drawings also on Instagram and such, but we'll
Yes.
have links and that later in the video about
Content
all
coming
that.
soon on that.
Yeah. So that was the next step. I took the next element, which is the drawing tablets. I did 4 different ones there with the drawing tablet.
Drawing tablets, yes.
You know, I tried OK in a tablet, Richard in a tablet, OK off. What I was always drawn to though was the pencil or the stylus.
Yes.
You know, I quite liked that. So you'll see as I go further on, I just incorporate that in the K every time, just simply because I liked it. I don't know.
Yes.
There was something about it I felt quite confident with.
I really like the pencil over the tablet. I think it's a lot more understandable. A lot more people understand, okay, pencil. They know exactly what a pencil is and what it stands for. A stylus tablet, that's a bit more niche.
Yeah.
So that you'll be focusing to a lot less people. So I thought maybe it would have been better if we used the pencil over the stylus because of that reason. It's just not as a popular indicator or like symbol.
Yeah, and don't want to limit it or limit ourselves in it. Then the third line of concepts, that was now friends. You know, okay, Richard, it's both of us, we're friends, we do this together. So now I thought, let's incorporate us into it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I still use the other elements because I like the pencil and I like the drawing tablet. So the first one you can see that I've got a pencil or a stylus there. Next one I've got a tablet, and the third one again, it's got the pencil. With different ideas to do. Again, this was rough. This was maybe like a half an hour process. It didn't take me too long, but it was just putting every idea I had onto paper so that later on I can go back to it as reference or even use one of them, you know, if I want to. This is just while I'm in that area of the design, when I'm listing things, my mind is going, okay, artists, I'm going to put those ideas to paper so I can
While
use
you were drawing this, were you looking at images of pencils and that?
So not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So this was just as I was doing this playing,
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'll go back to my points. So that was the rough sketches. Then I decide on 3 ideas to expand on. I'm a firm believer in 3 ideas. I just always think it's not too many to look at, but it also has ideas, concepts. So you can always, if I was showing to a client or like Richard, for instance, at least I can say to him, okay, you don't like this one, but you like these 2. Let's try, you know, augment those 2 into one concept. And vice versa.
And if you give too many options to your customer, they'll get, they won't be able to actually decide or have a solid decision because they think, oh, there's this, and there's almost like you're giving them too much to think about all at once.
Yeah.
They can't think because they're getting too much all at once.
Exactly. So what I do from that point, so now I'm going to decide on the ideas. I go back to my sketches. Now, because I'm so used to doing 3 ideas and I've drummed it into myself, I've got basically 3 concepts here already. I've got the tablet, I've got the word, and I've got the friends. So I've already gone through that process beforehand while doing the rough sketches just because I already know. But now what I do is I take from those 3 ideas, I take 1 and I expand on it.
Try to improve on it?
Yes. So I take 1 from each spot basically to improve, but that's the next. So now the next thing, exactly what you're saying, we're checking
references to try and,
like we discussed in our video about the Facebook cover page, which you can also get a link to in the description. You know, Iron Man, we spoke about there, and we can't draw Iron Man without
looking at Iron Man.
Exactly. If we want to do it justice. Yes. Obviously, I can draw a man in a suit, a simple, but it guarantees not going to look like as good.
That's true.
yeah, people are just going to be like, okay, and maybe it's Iron Man.
It's Iron Man.
Yeah.
But it's so much better. Even if you think that you know how it looks, it's better to have a guide.
100%.
There might be something that you missed out on, or something that you
Little
just having
details.
you just have a different perspective.
100%.
There's just, you could always learn something new. Always look at reference.
Yeah. So that was my next thing. So I went to our good old friend Google, and I just type in artist logos. Let me see what other people that are in the same field are doing. Exactly. Because that's obviously what mine is going to be compared to. The first thing I'm looking for is originality. So I'm looking not only for a logo that really like pops, stands out to me and is like, wow. I'm also looking, is any of the ideas I've come up with, could they be too similar to someone else?
Yeah, something that was already invented, and you don't want to be too similar. Yeah. Otherwise, you don't stand out from your competitors or from others.
Because obviously, I mean, you type in artists, you're going to get pencils. So obviously, if I'm doing a pencil, there's going to be other pencils, but I want to make sure my pencil's not their pencil.
That's true.
Another pencil.
You don't want to have the same style of pencil that another person has. I've had the same problem as well, where I'm still busy with one customer's logo where the one idea that they had was to use the apple, but now they said keep it simple, and now I'm trying to design the logo, and I showed it to a few people, and then they said, Is that Apple Mac?
Yeah.
You see, now you just have to be very careful with how you design it, and try your best to make it as unique as possible.
100%.
You have to pay attention to the elements that you have on your logo. If the apple has a certain shape or certain simplicity, you need to change how you do that so that it doesn't look like
because obviously this is your brand. This is what people see before they see us. Yes. So before you've even clicked on our videos, the first thing you've noticed is our logo.
Is the logo.
So you want that to represent you as much as possible.
And the logo needs to be something that has to have an expectation as well.
Yeah.
It needs to represent us.
Yeah.
So if they look at the logo, they think, okay, that company stands for this, or that company. When you look at the logo, we already have a very good idea of what the company is about.
Yeah.
Before you even introduce yourself or get a relationship with the customer.
Definitely.
Or to have a relationship with the company that
client and such. Yes. Okay. So basically, I just searched there. I'm not going to go specific ones and that, but I just use Google. Everyone uses Google. It's got tons of stuff on it. Obviously, you never go past the first page. So you just scroll down, have a look at a couple things. Then I also looked up
some tablets.
Sorry. Yes. So I just looked up some tablets because, again, just get some reference on that, on the stylus and
how
such.
The stylus looks.
Exactly.
Maybe there's something on a specific stylus that you could use.
Yes. So I was looking at angles and such, which I'll show you later with the next few concepts and that. But so that's basically what I did. I saved a couple when, created my own versions and such. And so that's your references. Now my next step. So now this is where I realized I might not be doing it right. But this is the way I do it. So I don't know, again, everyone's different. I'm sure at design school and such, they teach you a certain way. Nothing wrong with that. If that's how you like to do it that way. But for me personally, before I even start the vector designs after the sketches, I like the references. And the next step is I like the fonts. I like to define what fonts I'm going to use before I even have a design. And sometimes it makes it difficult because I find a font I really like.
Yes. And
then it doesn't work in the design. But then that comes to my rules. But the rules maybe I'll make a video on what my rules are.
I think there is something, sorry for disrupting you. I think there is something that we both have in common. that we have with our logo designs, we like to do mascot logo designs, where it has an image next to a text. We like to stick to, most of the time, we don't fiddle too much with the font. We like to just try and focus more on the symbol of the logo. There's a lot of designers out there that do logo design, that are more specialized in the logo designs, and they have the options where they have the text-based logos, and then there's the mascot logos. But most of the time, we like to focus a lot on the mascot type of logo.
And the simple reason for that is just visually it's more pleasing. You know, there's different times to use it. Obviously, there's a professional company doesn't want a mascot, they just want their font and nice and that.
And it's also a preferred style from both of us for using mascot styled.
That's also why I think I like to do the fonts first. So in terms of that, what I do is I type up. Now I'll do this on the computer because my handwriting's horrible, so I wouldn't be able to tell what the hell's going on. So I put it all in caps first, and then I do it caps and lowercase. The reason I do that is I want to see how it reads, but also like how it looks. So for me personally, I think this is too much. I think it's too strong. I think the word okay is a strong word. It's okay.
Yes,
then
you've got
Richard.
That angst at the beginning.
Exactly. So for me, it made more sense. So I went with this concept.
You've already got the impact straight at the beginning. Exactly. You don't need to add more.
Yeah, I don't want to be shouting at you. Okay, Richard. I just want
okay, Richard.
Yes, 100%.
That's what you would say most of the time, Kaylan.
Yes. So now with the fonts, what I do is now I've decided, okay, I want lowercase. I put a list. Now, usually it's a lot longer than this. Obviously, I'm not going to show
the whole
hundreds
thing.
of fonts that I looked at. Just give a good idea. Yeah, so you can just see the different and what I was looking at. You know, I went like first concept was just out there. It was just like exactly. And then I tried the more curvy type fonts. Then I tried a more child-friendly, arty type simple fonts, and eventually I came across the font that I decided on. The reason I decided on it, it had those curves that I was looking for, but I also felt like, especially the Richard part, had that little simpler look like the other fonts. That's just my opinion. It seems soft, but it's got the nice curves, and we all like them curves.
Them curves, yo.
So, 100%. So that's the font. So let's just go back to my checklist. So that's fonts. The next step I do is colors. So now colors I think are very important, and I think it's something not everyone looks over or pays attention to. But yeah, so basically I just pull up a color wheel on the internet anyway. They all the same basically. And then I just put two fonts together because I don't want 5 million colors. Yes. I want two colors.
Two colors, yes.
Two colors that complement each other. One color that's going to be, the first, and then your secondary color. And that's all I want.
That is something that I think is very highly agreed on, is having, in most cases, having two colors and two font styles. You need to try and keep your designs for your whole company as consistent as possible, so that people can recognize what type of company you are. Because then if you have a certain style going across all of your things, like your portfolio, your website, business cards, everything, they will recognize it's you. You see what's like with McDonald's, you have the yellow and the red, and you have the arc. You have those elements going across everything. 100%.
So also with that in mind, I need to think of colors I'm going to like to see all the time, because I'm going to be using them all the time. So, I also wanted to look at the meaning behind colors. So obviously each color represents different things in terms of it has different emotions and that, there's scientific studies on this stuff. So I looked at different things. So you can see I tried blue and yellow, you know, purple and green, red and green. Eventually, I did go on these ones. And the reason I did that was not only did I find them pleasing together, and I found them soft. I found it's not too much,
yes,
but it's still like orange is a creative color, blue is a social color, and
yes,
a professional color. You know, and that's the thing is now I'm going back to my original keynotes, which was friends and creative.
Yes,
I've got them both.
Blue is a color it is used in corporate companies, and blue is a color for trust.
Yeah.
So you can trust us with whatever you want. We are your friends, basically. So yeah, we can be your friends. We give you permission, no problem.
Oh, Richard will be your friend.
I'll be your friend. I need more friends.
Yeah, so my point being is I still went back to those notes from 5 steps ago and said, this is what I'm looking for, because this is what the name and the company is all about. So yeah, that's how I came across those colors, and that's what I went for.
What was the emotion, or what was the meaning behind the orange color?
As the creative.
It's a creative color.
It's a more creative. It's also a friendly color and a welcoming color.
A welcoming color.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is again, it has yellow and orange as well. More creative.
Yes. Passionate.
Yeah. Red would be more.
Red would be passionate. Yes.
So, and I liked it visually. I thought it looked nice next to the blue.
The yellow is a friendly color.
Yeah.
It's a friendly color. Okay.
Yeah. It's also a creative color.
Also a creative color.
Yeah. I just don't like using a lot of yellow. So, I wasn't going to use it because I just thought I personally find it harsh to see all the time. Orange, I find is more of a compliment on it, and it's softer to look at. That's honestly.
I have looked at, with some of the research I've done recently, yellow is a very captivating color, but it's also too much of the captivating element.
I find it's too strong. It's very much used everywhere. Yellow is always used because it stands out.
There's a reason why.
But I'm not a fan. Me and Richard have worked together for a long time, and we've worked for a specific company where it's all yellow.
We've used a whole lot of yellow.
Yeah, it's
too much.
I don't want to have yellow in my own stuff.
So much emphasis on the yellow.
So then part of the design process is a coffee break.
Just imagine coffee. Imagination coffee.
Now, obviously, being creative, being a designer, that's about my 10th cup before I even got to this point.
10 cups, because coffee is inspiration.
But now we use the excuse to actually have a break. So, and then
drinking beer, because it can also be inspirational. But just one. Just one. That's all. And
just so everyone knows, because I don't think I've discussed this or we've said anything, the reason we called the channel and called us OK Richard is you'll hear me saying it very often to Richard once he gets to that point where you're just like, OK Richard.
And I don't even need to be drunk to be unnecessary. Completely sober. And I'm just like that. I'm just weird.
And you just
naturally.
Yeah, it just gets to that point where you just have to say, "Okay, Richard." Okay. And so that's why we decided to go with the name, because I'm sure you'll notice it very often. So then the next thing I do is I do some rough first designs on Illustrator. So what I've got here is the designs I showed Richard. These are the designs. So now I've taken the references. I've taken my font. I've taken my color. Obviously, this has a different font on the first one. That's because, like I said, I listed a whole bunch of fonts before I chose the one I chose on. So I took from those rough sketches the tablet idea first. I put the tablet, I put the word in it. And then I thought, just having Richard next to it looked a little bit lonely. It looked empty. So I added we draw stuff. I tried to be quirky, funny, ooh, cool guy. But, so that's why I put that there. And so that's the concept I came up with. The orange, you see, because it's a stronger color than the blue, I put it more subtle. So it's there, it catches your attention a little bit, but the blue...
Blue is the dominant color.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
You don't want it to compete too much. You want them to have complement each other.
Then with the next one, I drew a very simple pencil. I took references of pencils, and I wanted, when I was looking up the photos and references of pencils, every time I saw their pencil, I thought, easy thing is to put 2 lines there, make it a K. Incorporate it together, it looks nice together. Then when I put the O next to it, I felt like they looked too separate. I felt like it wasn't a unit. So then I made the O have a, I found a font that worked perfectly. I didn't have to actually make it. I found a font that worked. And it had a straight side, so I could insert it there. It also made the pencil more abstract. And I like that. I like the fact that it's open here. The fact it's open there where it's not touched, where it's not touching there. The reason I did it was I looked at a lot of references for pencils, and I saw a lot of silhouettes where they had that empty space, and I really liked the look of it.
That idea.
So I took that and transitioned it into this. And the reason I left that empty, for instance, is I went with that negative space that we already had, and it also made it easier, in my opinion, to see the O and the K. Now obviously I added a piece here, put Richard, we draw stuff. Just the so orange,
you could have it joined together.
Exactly, as a unit. You read it as a unit. It still is a little bit more abstract, so it's not as easy to just read if you're not 100% sure. But so this is what I sent Richard. What I also sent him now, obviously, like I said, 3 designs always. So these were the first 2 concepts. And then the third concept.
Then we have this one.
So this concept, I took the element of the pencil. But because when I did it, and after I was finished, I did feel it was quite abstract. So what I did was made it more a K. I put the pencil, the letter. Boom. K. Then I thought about the O, and the issue where I had with the last one, where I had to find a font that could fit there. And then I was thinking, I've made the K. It's not a font, so I feel like any font I use isn't going to work together. Then I thought, it's artist. Let's make a circle, but make it look like paint.
Like a brush stroke.
Exactly, a brush stroke. So it all works together. To me, it made sense. So I did the circle, and then, add that little orange. The tip of the pencil's orange, the word is orange, It looks like you've written that down. No one's like that. No one's like, oh my God, they actually wrote that. But it gives you that illusion that's what's happening.
And I like the idea that you had with the scratches at the bottom of Richard, to make it look like it's more like it's literally written
Exactly.
down,
That's what I was thinking.
Because that is one of the things that we do as us, we like to draw. Yeah. So that's one of the elements that's added there. And then also, all of it just made so much sense with everything that we do.
Yeah. No, it's now the lazy part came in, where I just put placeholders for our imagery. So this was, I explained to Richard when I sent it to him, this is going to be me, this is going to be him, a vector version of each of us.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I didn't actually make this is if Richard didn't like it. I didn't want to spend the time it would take to make us if Richard was like, no, I like the first one.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I came up with the concepts, but at the end of the day, we
have to agree with the idea.
So I thought, even if I prefer, because I did, even when I did it, I preferred this 100%. I thought it represents everything, the creativity, the friendship, artists, everything in one. I'm super happy with it, but I can't just say, oh, okay, it's mine, because I've also need the client Richard in this case to sit and say, maybe I prefer this one. Then we'll work on these.
Yes, try and improve on that idea. Try and make something like the best. Because
this is the first concepts. Remember, this can still be expanded. This is just giving us the chassis to build the car on. It's just the beginning part of it.
Do you like the model? Okay, so now what can we add to the car to make it better?
So that was exactly what happened. Is then we needed to pick one,
design,
which we both actually agreed on the one I wanted, which was
the last one. The one with the two characters, the pencil,
and the Richard.
And the name.
Richard liked it. He had some changes he would like, some things he thought we could improve on. So the next part was flushing that out, making one that he likes. So he thought the Richard was too small.
So then we increased.
Yes, sorry, Richard.
Sure.
He also said the O was too small. So I increased that. I made the O bigger. I made the Richard bigger. He also said, let's try something different with the line. So I did one concept where I just made the Richard bigger, and one concept where it was bigger, but the line was also moved.
Yes.
Again, keeping this O bigger, because I agreed with him. I think the O bigger is much better. It looks more like a unit still.
Yes, because the O just looked a bit weird being smaller than the K. I thought it just made sense that it was the same height. It just looks better.
Yes.
Personally.
Okay, so now we've picked it, we've proven on them, and we're cleaning up the design. So from here, we discussed it. We said, okay, I said to Richard, I didn't like the line here. I preferred the line underneath, but I still liked the placement of Richard here. So I said to him, let's make the Richard bigger, but let's keep the placement so it doesn't look like it's floating a bit. And then once he agreed with me after couple arguments and hours of sleepless nights. And
and the dramas. I was just sleeping on my side of the bed crying.
Sharp, let's go ahead with it, 100%.
Yeah.
And I worked on our characters, and we got...
Okay, Richard.
Okay, Richard.
There's our logo.
100%.
And now we're completely happy. 100%. 100%.
So, I designed this. Obviously, the way I did it was I used the reference that took a photo of Richard's face, had to look at it for more hours than I cared to, and come up with something. I came up with, originally I designed it, it was quite realistic. I didn't like that. I thought it's better, let's give Richard a big head on a small body. He's a tall guy. I think it suits better.
We try to go with the whole cartoony vibe.
Exactly.
It's something that we both like is cartoons.
Exactly. And then I took some references. Obviously I looked up hair, and in the video about the Facebook covers, I discussed that their mouths. I took some concepts. So I took that concept and I took a pre-existing vector of a mouth, and I warped it and changed it to suit.
Try to improve it.
This mouth, for instance, it was a big smile. Like his mouth was
way bigger.
And I was like, no, Richard's got a small mouth. Let me squash this.
Squash
it in, and it also works with his big ass head.
Okay, sure.
Even the hair and that, you have to use references always. Originality is very important. References, very important.
Very important.
You can't make your own thing if you're not referencing what the original looks like and such, So again, even for myself, even though I look at myself in the mirror every day, I had a photo open and I worked on it,
And it came out very well. I was very happy with it once everything was done.
And I think they look roughly like what we look like. You can see I'm even wearing my red shirt now, like I always do.
I do not have my green shirt on in this video, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah,
the expectations are
disappointing, Richard.
Disappointing.
It's almost as if you didn't know we were making a video today. So, and that's basically how I came up with the idea and the concept and the process I worked through to get to this point. That's
Yeah, that's
about
that.
it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if there's anything more you want to add, Rich.
No, I think I was very happy with it, and I think this whole session that we had has been very educational as well. I like talking about the process. There's always something that we can learn. You know. I was happy with that. And
if you guys want us go into any further details with anything, please leave a comment. Let us, or if you like these type of videos, hit the like button there. Let us know you like us talking about this. The next videos we do might not necessarily be about a design. It might be about
something else.
Reacting to another artist's work and how we see it, or bad designs even.
Bad designs. React to bad designs.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, that is something we should definitely try. React.
Yes. So
we've got we're so opinionated.
Yeah.
It might annoy a lot of people.
We might not always be right, but we always are.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, just leave a comment about it. Tell us what you thought about the video. If you like these type of videos,
we're open to critiques. So
100%.
You can insult us, but as long as you have something constructive to say,
as long as you
please,
end the comment
that would
with
be nice.
Okay, Richard, we're happy, because I don't know, 100%. Let's
we'll see you in the next video.
Just remember to hit that subscribe, like button,
subscribe,
link to other videos, Instagram, all that jazz, whatever.
Share if you want. We don't mind. That would be nice. That'd be great.
All those things that you're supposed to say at the end of your video, do all that stuff.
All that stuff.
And
let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
Let's get it on.